If you know the game Terra Battle, you are probably familiar with the concept of SB farming, how painful it is. So basically you just have to repeat again and again the same quest in order to gain some stats. It's an extremely dull task, so I thought, okay, dull tasks are made for robots, yep. So I just built one robot that is doing all this boring stuff for me. So instead of explaining it, I will just turn the power on and see what happens. Okay, so here's the mission start. Skip. And let's go. Okay, so I am providing no input at all. Everything is fully autonomous. Basically, I am gaining about 1% of SB every hours. Of course, it depends on the character. Generally, it's 1% per hour. A night is about 10 hours, so 10%. In 1 week, I bring a whole team from 0% to 100. I had a good head start, but it took me a little less than 3 months to be Rainbow Road, and I'm almost done with every Z characters in less than 4 months. Okay, so skipping the loot and starting again. Okay, so if you want to build your own, you need to be aware of certain things. First, this machine will turn for hundreds, if not thousands of hours, so it needs to be flawless, or at least extremely reliable. So no cheap material, if you know what I mean. Try to keep going with the high quality hardware as much as possible, which I didn't made myself. For example, those small ball bearings are a very cheap China made one, and you can see it's making a small groove inside this aluminum beam, because they are not very good. The other one are Japan made, very nice, very good, so you can see it's very clean. NEMA 14 motor and NEMA 17, pretty regular stuff. A few things are 3D printed. I 3D printed myself, for example those brackets, L shape here, also under. Okay. Also the rack is 3D printed. This one is a PLA 3D printed. This one too. Some dampening rubber. 12 volt solenoid, pretty regular stuff, with some heatsink I built myself with aluminium plate that I bent by hand. Okay, nothing fancy. Driven by an Arduino. Okay. 2 step drivers. Also at one point I used the potentiometer to fine-tune the delay between the attacks patterns. The system is homing every 3 cycles. So there is a switch you can see here, and of course another one right here. Okay, because we'll touch this beam, and home the motor. If you know what a stepper motor is, and if you know Arduino, it's a really cool project to do. Nothing very difficult. Even for the moves, you just have to use a good library for stepping motors. Just have to measure your screen and say, okay, go to this coordinate, go to this coordinate. Only two-dimensional. It's very straightforward. Not very difficult, and quite fun, quite a lot of fun to develop. Every 3 cycles my system will trigger a reset of the quest. If everything is working without any problem, the reset will happen on this screen, the team selection screen. So if I am on a quest and everything is fine, I won't give up this good quest. Okay, so I will just okay, make the system fail in purposefully to see what happens. So of course the game will go out of sync, totally out of whack. So as you can see, nothing is happening, the enemy is attacking, and the thing is lost. So you don't want it to happen, and you want the game to recover by itself, which it will do eventually. So another point, very important, very for me, because I use PLA here, I don't want the motor to go crazy hot. That's why you get the power when the motors are not running. So if I touch it, it will move. So to keep it perfectly flat, don't touch the motors. Okay, so the game is still root, so it sinks. But of course it is still on the first stage of the battle. Okay, so it starts again. Okay, so yeah, I suppose this is the first cycle, so we will have to wait 2 more cycles. You can see sometime it will attack randomly, but probably not wipe out the screen every time. From time to time they will get rid of every enemies and finish the quest, and the game will from time to time resync this way, but generally it will resync thanks to the give up option. So I will just speed up the process. Okay, so the game is now reset and it starts again. Okay, so as I said, sometimes the loading time is a bit too long, and you can lose the sync this way. Sometimes also you don't have a perfect contact between the screen and the tip of the solenoid. Of course, I'm using a touch pen tip that fits perfectly the M3 thread of my push solenoid. I was lucky with this. The foam is just for dampening to limit the noise. It's not that noisy, but I sleep not far away from the machine, so I want to keep it to keep the noise at a minimum. And last thing, it cost me a little less than $100, so quite reasonable in my standards. And when it will be over, I could put a laser and convert it into a laser engraver cutter. I will probably do that. I'm not sure. It's quite accurate. Okay, so of course you need accuracy, but you don't need that much. Okay, that's it. Hope guys enjoyed it, and if you try to build one, I would love to see that. So please keep in touch.